Chumash Rashi, Torah portion, Bahar. We are on the fifth reading. Chapter 25, verse 29. We continue with the laws of the Jubilee year when things get returned, when property gets returned. Dealt with a field. Now we continue with a residential home in a walled city. The ish kiyim kar beis meishav yer choyma, when a person will sell. Remember, this is ancestral home given to the tribes and each family within their tribe. So when you will sell your residential home in a walled, yer choyma is a walled city. So you can redeem it only up until a year. If it was a field that you sold, which is for produce, for 2 years, you can't redeem it. Or after 2 years, you can redeem it. So the purchaser will have at least benefit for 2 years, and then you can redeem it afterwards. But here you get up to a year. The agulase will be its redemption. Rashi 29. It is a residential house in a walled city. It's a house within a city that's surrounded by a wall. From the days of Yeshua, the son of Nun, Joshua. From the days of Joshua. In other words, when the Jews went into Israel and conquered the land. Right, from that time. It will be a redemption, because it says concerning a field, that you're able to redeem it from 2 years after the sale onwards. Whenever you want, from 2 years onwards. However, within the first 2 years of the sale, after the sale, that is, you're not able to redeem it. So the Torah had to specify concerning a house in a walled city, that it's the opposite. That if you want to redeem it, you sold it, cause remember, why'd you sell it?
Because you were destitute?
You're destitute, exactly. So you can sell your property. Otherwise, it's supposed to be kept within the family heirloom, within the family legacy.
The only condition in which it was okay to sell it?
So here, the opposite, that if you want to redeem it, you can only redeem it in the first year. Goyala, you may redeem it, but after this point, Goyala, you're not able to redeem it. Why wouldn't you be able to redeem it? Because it's a home. If after a year, if you didn't get your home, you need another home, right?
Yeah.
You need another home. So after a year, we figure, that's it, finished.
But is this and perhaps it's not mentioned here, so just forget it, but is this the same as the field where you can only sell the house if you're poor and you really need the money? Yeah. Or are there can you sell it for more broad reasons?
No, also poor.
Okay.
That's why I'm quite certain that has to also be, yeah.
Okay.
Hi, so the redemption shall be shalbayis of the house, yamim, yemei shana shlema. It says days, it means the days of a full year. Kurim yamim is called days. Chen yamim, like as we see in the days from Naritana yamim, and made him will be with us for days. It means a full, complete year. That's what the term yamim, even though yamim means days, right? Mm-hmm. But in the context over here, it doesn't mean days. It means full days of a year. Okay.
So anytime we see this phrase days, it means a year.
In the context, no, not anytime you see it. In this context of the verse, where it says shnat, because it says until the end of the year of the sale, right? Then it says days will be its redemption. So that sounds like, you only got 2 days? Mm-hmm. Plural of days is 2. So does it mean you only have 2 days? Well, we just said a year. In the context of a year, the word yamim means full days of a year, right? 365, if you will. Yeah. Or of a Jewish year, let's say. Okay?
Yeah.
But the word yamim, no, means days. In another context, it means days.
Okay.
Right? But in this context, it can't mean days because we just said it's a full year. That's a year. And then it says days. So what, is it only 2 days you got? Or is it got a year?
But couldn't it just say years and not say days at all?
That's not the point. The point
No,
it says days.
I know
No, the fact that it says days. So therefore, what is it coming to say? It says, the verse says days.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. What does it mean days?
Mhm.
It means full days of a year. That's what it means in this context. The verse says it, so that has to mean something. So what does it mean?
A year.
Days don't mean a year. Days mean
It said
days.
that.
But it says a year and it says days. How do you put the two things together?
Mhm.
So it means full days of a year. In other words, it's not partial year. You might think it's a part. Maybe it's from Rosh Hashanah.
Mhm.
Maybe from Rosh Hashanah to year, and it's only half a year. Then you only have to redeem it until Rosh Hashanah. Let's, for argument's sake,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So the fact that it says days after years
Yeah.
means full days of a
Full
year.
days of the-
Okay, got it?
Yeah.
We're good. I don't know if you're so great right now, so pay attention.
Rough start, huh?
You still have a chance. You still have a chance.
That's what learning is about.
Huh?
That's what learning is about.
Mm-hmm.
With all these smooth sailing.
Right. Okay. The im lo yigal, and if you will not redeem adma loy shana until the full year, tamima, complete. It's interesting that here it says complete full year. So why do we need it in the previous verse? I don't know. Right? In other words, here it emphasizes full complete year, not a partial year. So in the previous verse, why do we need that teachings? Right? Become a bias asher year asher loy. So it will rise up, meaning it will remain permanently the house in the city, asher loy, that is to him. And you see in the brackets over there, it says it's written loy with an aleph, but we read it loy with a vav. They're pronounced the same way. Loy means to him. Loy means not to him. As we'll see. We'll see
Mhm.
in a moment. Don't read ahead. Just stay present. I think sometimes we're not present, and therefore we get confused. Okay. Loy chayma, that does that it, to him a wall litzmisus, it will be purchased for good. Lekaina oisei l'deiresa, for the one who acquired it for all generations. Lo yetze b'yevel, won't go out in the jubilee. Remember, till now we learned everything goes out in the jubilee.
Yep.
Not this.
Nope.
This verse says not that way, right? When we're talking about a house,
Yeah.
not a field. The field always goes back, but a house doesn't. Let's see Rashi. Become a bias, and the house will be the game of the will be established for perpetuity. Yotza mikecha shel meicher, goes out from the authority of the seller, and now stands under the authority of the buyer. Right, it belongs to him for good. Asher loy chayma, that has a wall, so it's spelled lamed aleph. It's no, means loy karina, and we read it loy to it. So it's to it that has a wall, and it also has not wall. So it's both that it has a wall and not a wall.
Is this the same consequence?
Whoa, let's tell you. Let's get the facts, and then we'll see what Rashi says. Don't jump. We jump. We don't stay present. Just get the facts. The fact is, it's written with an aleph. Lamed aleph means no.
Lo.
No, N-O.
Lo.
Yeah, I know, but don't say it because it's written that way, but we pronounce it lamed vav, to it, meaning it has a wall, not no wall. We got a contradiction here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Rabbi saying our sage is a blessed memory. He say the following. What do we learn from this? Even though it does not have a wall at the present moment, because previously it was a walled city that we applied to it. Okay, in other words, it does or doesn't. Well, we're talking about a place that now doesn't have a walled city, but it previously was. So how do you look at it? Should you look at it as a walled city or not a walled city? So we say we look at it as a walled city because previously it had a wall around it. Here na keva here, and the word ear is a feminine form. Hutzach lichtev law, and it should have been written law. To it, feminine, not loy. But because it had to say loy, not bifnim, inside the text, so it was fixed in the masculine form, reading it in this manner. And this falls on that. Loy veloy. Because they're identical pronunciation. Okay?
So this is saying that a house that was once
Currently is not a walled
Currently
city.
is not a walled
Loy without a wall.
Yeah.
But it was a wall to it at one point,
Okay.
right? So then it's considered like a walled city.
Okay.
And therefore, if you sell the property, if you sell the house,
Yeah.
then you have up to a year to redeem it. And after a year, you can't redeem it anymore. It belongs to the
Buyer.
for how long?
Permanently.
Permanently. L'chaim. Now you're great.
Glad I made it back.
All right. It won't go out in the Yovel. Rav Safra said, if the Yovel comes within the year, another within the year after the sale, it doesn't go out of the possession of the buyer. In other words, the only way it goes out, because we already said that it doesn't go out by 1 second. Like it's repetitive. What do you mean? We just said that it's the buyer's for eternity, right?
After a year.
It's for his if it wasn't redeemed, right? For eternity. So why is the verse now so late to be Yovel? It shouldn't go out the Yovel. Obviously, it's not going out the Yovel if it's his for eternity. So means let's say the guy sold the house and Yovel came within the year.
Yeah.
So does it go out then by Yovel?
No.
No. That's what those words mean. 31. Now we're talking about houses that are in Chatzerim, meaning open cities. They do not have a wall, saviv, around. It should be considered like a field in the land. There will be redemption for it, and it will be repossessed by the purchaser and the Jubilee year. Interesting.
That doesn't make sense though. It's the field, you have to wait 2 years to redeem it, but here it says they may be redeemed immediately.
Okay, so why doesn't it make sense?
Because it said it shall be like a field, but earlier it said that a field, you needed 2 years to redeem it, but this is saying shall be redeemed immediately.
Well, first of all, where did you read that in the verse?
It says.
Are you reading Rashi?
Yes, I am. No, I'm not reading Rashi. It
because in the brackets it says there.
No, it says the number to be considered like the land's fields, they may be redeemed immediately. But the fields cannot be redeemed.
Okay, okay. First of all, it's not. Let's see. So let's see Rashi what he says about that. Okay, let's see. Okay, good point. And houses in the courtyards should be understood as unkeles pitzchaya, which means ayaras psuches, open towns, without a wall. Harbe yesh. There are many examples of this word, the Sefer Yeshua in the book of Joshua. Okay. Ha'arim, walled cities and open towns and elsewhere. I mean, just giving examples. Second Rashi. It should be considered like a field of land, like Ariel just brought up. Hare hang kisodos. They are like fields. Shenigolim, that which can be redeemed. Ada yovel. In other words, how are they like a field? Till the yovel, you could redeem it, right? And they also go out of the possession of the buyer by the yovel year. If they were not redeemed. There shall be a redemption to it. So now it's like a field that it can be. So Rashi explains your question. Till can be redeemed anytime until Jubilee, and Jubilee it will go out. Now there's extra words here though. Goyala tia loy, it shall have redemption. Does it give a parameter to the redemption?
No.
No. So therefore Rashi says miyad immediately. Got it? If the original owner wishes, with this respect, his power, the rights of the original owner is so much greater over him from the power of the field. Right? Because the power of the field he only has because the fields can only be redeemed until 2 years. So he explained your question, right? In other words, like the field doesn't mean like the field entirely. Right? Means like the field, that until the Jubilee you can redeem it. Didn't say from when, because the verse then gives a little extra, right? And it will go out in the Jubilee. That in that way it's like the field.
Yeah.
But it's not like the field in that immediately you could redeem it. And then the Yovel will go out without payment. Right, Rashi had to say that. Isn't that obvious? Aha. What happens if it was the Jubilee fell out in the first year or after the first year, before 2 years, right? So you still don't have, you don't have to pay anything. Because he didn't get a home for the year even. He didn't get his full, he bought it. He didn't even get a full year.
Yeah.
So do you have to pay back anything? No.
Because he barely used it.
Well, so you think maybe he should be paid back something from the year? No.
No.
That's what those words mean. Okay, 32. Now we're talking about the cities of the Levites. The Levites, remember, did not get land, right? They didn't get land. They got certain cities, right? And so here it says the houses that they inherited, cities, shall forever have the right of redemption for the Levites. It's Rashi. Ariel Levim, the city of the Levites, are year. There are 48 cities. Shinit Lehem that were given to the Levites. Okay. And that's in the time of Joshua that they were given these cities. Again, because remember, tribe of Levi does not get any possession of land, right? Gula Olam, eternal redemption. Goel miyad, he may redeem immediately. I feel lifnei shtei shanim, even before 2 years pass of selling their land. Imachar sada, if they sell a field. So they say him among the fields that they have, and the sunim lahem that were given to them. Alpaim ama, in the 2,000 ama that they have svivus ayaras. So they got cities with homes. And around their homes, they're like the whatever village it was, city. When we call city, it doesn't mean right? Not Montreal, but around it they got 2,000 amma, which is around 3,000 feet around it of field, right? That they use. So if they had a property and they sold that, so they could redeem that immediately, right? Even though regular field,
Yeah,
you have to wait 2 years.
Yeah.
Levites don't have to wait 2 years.
but the house and the field are considered one unit. It's not like you could just redeem like the field and not redeem the house within the 2 years.
They're separated, so your home is there,
Yeah.
and your field is over there. You sold the field. We're
Yeah.
talking about now. We're just
Okay.
talking about you sold the field,
Okay.
right?
It's the place where the houses, where they lived, did not have land around them or? they
Right.
were-
The land was outside of the
No, no,
city.
I-
That's why you call it a city. It's called a city, even though it's probably like a
Like
village,
the houses.
right? Because the houses and the land was outside.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the house is built on land, like.
Yeah, of course.
So when, you speak about, oh, this one was I came about. Okay, all right, that's good.
Again, imagine a bunch of houses here, okay? 50 houses, okay? That's a village, city, call it a city, right? Around it, they got, completely around it, they also got land, fields that were for planting and stuff, right? That's what they got.
Right, so.
They didn't get huge tracts of, right? I mean, they got the 48 cities, villages, and the land around it. That land around is what we're talking about.
But what portion of that existing land belongs to whom? So in other
Okay,
words-
but whatever, that's irrelevant to the point here. That's irrelevant to what the verse is saying. Whoever that, this piece was mine. I'm a Levite. This was mine, and I sold it. Whatever, however that became mine or whatever, that's whatever. The point is that I could redeem it anytime, which is not the case in regular land.
Yeah, you have
Right?
to wait 2 years. The lady had the whole city. The whole city was theirs. Are you
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah,
so they okay.
Yeah. Okay.
They're like landlords.
Well, I don't know if they were like, no, but it's not the whole the city. It was a city of Levites. Each
Okay.
one owned your own property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not like, no, it's not others live there. That's where the Levites lived.
Okay. So it was all inhabited by everyone in the city was a Levite.
Or someone who had to accidentally killed somebody. It was a city of refuge. It served as a city of refuge too. Okay. Or if they sold a house, in a walled city, they are able to redeem it forever. And it does not become an absolute property of the buyer with no further possibility of redemption. Let's say Shona at the end of the year, which is the case of the non-Levites. So Levite, completely different law, completely different law. Whether it's in a walled city, which was the most strict or limitation of redeeming it up to a year, they have forever. Or if it was a field, which was only after 2 years, they got it from right away forever that they could redeem. Right? Asher Yigal mean, 33. The Asher Yigal min Levim Yatzim min Mikar Bayis, and if one purchased from the Levite, whenever a house of an inherited in Karbayis, the Ircha was also B'Yovel. So whether a house or an inherited city will leave the possession of the purchaser in the Jubilee, right? These are all houses in the cities of the Levites. This is their inherited property amongst the children of Israel. This is special for them. Rashi in 33, Asher Yigal min Levim, that will buy from the Levites. Im Yiknen, if you will acquire bayis, year or a city mayhem from them, it will go out in the Yovel. It refers to Isamim Kashal Bias or Shal Ir, the sale of a house or of a city. I don't know what it means, the sale of a city exactly. Yoshua Levi b'Mochrei shall return to the Levite who sold it. Lo yecholud, and it doesn't become an absolute property of the buyer after the year. Yishar Bate Ari Choim Shel Israel, which is the case of all other Israelites when they sell homes, that non-Levites. So the verse says, it's interesting, it says, the verse says in 33, Asher Yigal Mina Levim, that you will redeem. Literally, Yigal means to redeem. But Rashi is explaining it doesn't mean redeem, because it's being purchased, right? Because we're talking about buying it. We're taking it from the Levite, right? So what does it mean? It's a purchase, says Rashi. And according to this interpretation, the word gula over here means selling rather than redemption. Right? That's one way that he looks at.
I don't get this at all.
Hmm?
I'm not following this.
Look at the words in the verse. That you will yigal from the Levim. What does the word yigal mean till now? Redeem.
Yeah.
Like gula.
Yeah.
Right? The final gula, the final redemption.
Yeah.
Right? So till now, the word means redemption.
Mhm.
Well, how could it mean redemption over here? How could it mean redemption? That you will redeem from the Levites? You buy from the Levites, not redeeming from the Levites.
Yeah.
Right? You're buying it from him.
Yeah.
So that's what Rashi's saying. That the word yigal over here means to buy.
Okay.
All right? So that's one explanation. A second alternative explanation, right, on this word, right, that we just explained to mean to purchase rather than redeem, right? Lifish and Emar, because it says Gula Soilam Tia Levim, that the Levites will have eternal redemption. Yochel, I might think that this is only speaking about when an Israelite, I mean a non-Levite, is the buyer. Shekon of is Levim, that he bought a house in the cities of the Levites of a Levi. Shekon of a Levi. How about if a Levi bought from a Levi? Maybe that should be an absolute sale and you can't go back because after all, it's in the property of a Levite.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't change.
Yeah.
So maybe there, Talmud Lemar, the verse says otherwise, that that when you redeem it from the Levites, even the Levite who redeems the miyad, Levi from the hands of a fellow Levite, Goel Gulosai, may redeem the right for eternal redemption. In other words, the first Levi who sold it to the second Levi, he could still redeem it and buy it back from him. That's what those words mean.
Permanently. He has a permanent right to buy it back.
Well, yeah, permanent.
Yeah.
No, but the chiddush is maybe only from the Israelite, the Levite could buy it back.
But no, it applies to.
It applies that. That's why it says the word redeem, because the Levite redeemed it from the Levite. In other words, redeemed it in the sense that it's his. That it's his, right? But it's to bring out that no, you could redeem it from the Levite, the Levite buyer, not the Levite seller.
So an Israelite.
You follow?
Yes.
Now there's a verse is saying we thought the normal way to look at the verse is that it's the Levite seller. No, it's a Levite buyer.
Yeah.
You can redeem it from him. That's the second alternative explanation. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, next. Okay, we got to truck a bit. The Yatzamim Karabayis, and selling the house to the city, the ancestors, the heritage shall go out. Zui mitzvah zacheris. This is a different commandment. It's not the first one, right? The non-Levite who buys it from the Levite, right? But if he doesn't redeem it, right? It goes out by the Yovel year, and it does become an absolute property of the buyer. Let's say Shana at the end of the year, you buy a shell base Israel, like the Israelites when they buy from non-Levites. Okay.
But that's what the Levite buying from the Levite.
Or from an Israelite, either.
Or from an Israelite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then it transfers totally at the end of the Jubilee year.
Yeah. The beginning.
beginning.
Yeah. Next, Rashi in 33. Kivate Area Levim Hiachuzasam, for the houses of Levite cities, that's their ancestral heritage. Lo Yahaya Lahem Nachlas Adas Ukramim, because they did not have estates of fields and vineyards, Ela Arim Lashevis, but these cities to live in, or Migrashehem, and the open grounds around their cities. Fikal, therefore, Haim Lahem Mekem Sades, the cities are to the Levites in the place of fields. Yeshlahem Gula Kisadis, and they have redemption like fields. Tufka Nachalasa Mehem, in order that the estate should not be revoked from them, right? That they always have capability of getting it back. 34. Okay, let's truck over here so we could finish. Ustei Migrash Arehem, and the field of the open areas of their cities, lo yimacher, cannot be sold. Ki achuzas ha'olam hu lahem, because they are an eternal inheritance. Ooh, what does this mean? What do you mean? We just said you could sell, right? But you could redeem it at any time. What is it saying now you can't sell? Let's see Rashi. Ustei Migrash Arehem lo yimacher, but the field of the open land of their cities may not be sold. This refers to Macher Gizbor, the sale of the treasury of the base of Migdash. Migdash ben Levi Isadeo. What happens to the Levite? He didn't sell it. He consecrated it to the holy temple, his property, right? Loigola, and he did not redeem it. Macher Gizbor, and the treasurer of the base of Migdash sold it. And the Yetzel Kahanim, it does not go out of the possession of the possession of the one who bought it to the Kohanim, but Yovel in the Yovel year, Israel, as it's stated, considered the Israelites, non-Levites, in other words, the Machet Sada. And if the treasurer had sold the field consecrated by an Israelite to another person, other than the original owner, Yigal Oy cannot be redeemed anymore. Ben Levi, but a Levite may redeem forever. Say it like this. There's two people that can consecrate property. Regular Israelite, right? And when they do that, and it's sold by the
Israelite?
No, by the Beis Hamikdash. Beis Hamikdash doesn't need property. What do they need? Cash. Because they got a lot of expenses to pay for, a lot of offerings, a lot of things that they have to pay for, right? Not for work, by the way, but for, right? Yeah. They have to pay. So land's not worth anything to it. But so the only thing that's worth it is they can sell it. So once they, sorry, one second. So, and once it's sold, they can't get it back, the Israelite, their land, right? But the Levite could. He can always redeem it, right? If he, in other words, even if it was sold by, he consecrated the field, and he didn't redeem it. He didn't have the money to redeem it, right? And it was sold before the Yovel by the Beis Hamikdash, by the treasurer of the Beis Hamikdash. So now he goes and he can still redeem it from whoever bought it. Okay?
Israelite can't, though.
No.
Okay.
35. If your brother will become destitute and his hand will falter with you, and you shall support him, whether he's a convert or a resident, so that he should live with you. Rashi in 35. And you shall hold him up. Don't allow him to decline, that he should fall. And then it'll be difficult to raise him up. But strengthen him. From the time of the faltering of the hand, meaning from the time his fortune begins to take a turn for the worse. Don't wait till he's down at the bottom of the dumps.
Yeah.
When he's already going down, help him. What is this comparable to? A burden that is on a donkey. The donkey is still standing in its place and it begins to slip. One person grabs hold on and set it into place. Once it has fallen to the ground, so 5 people can't pick him up. One, before he falls, the donkey, help him.
Yeah.
Because once he falls, 5 people can't pick him up. Right? So that's the metaphor to understand that help a person before he falters. Give a teshav, a convert or a resident, afim who ger, if he is a ger, a teshav or a resident, he's a teshav. What is a resident? Kol shekibel alav, any non-Jew accepted upon himself, shalei la to worship idols, va'echal nevelas, but eats unslaughtered animal. And he doesn't eat kosher, in other words, right? In other words, he's keeping the 7 laws. Yeah. Why Rashi says it that way, I'm not certain. Okay. And don't take from him interest for tarbis and an increase for and have fear from your God, and your brother will live with you.
That's still talking about the convert and the resident, right?
Let's see, Rashi. Yeah. I mean, it's speaking to anybody.
Okay.
No, any Jew you can't take interest, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean just
But even the person following the Noahide laws, you can't take interest.
no, from them you could.
Okay.
Because they're not Jewish.
Yeah. That's only for a Jew that you are obliged. Chad shevin Rabbana. So the sages considered these identical. In other words, neshech and tarbis and ribis. Laver alav shnei lavis. So why is it repeat? If it's the same idea, because you're transgressing 2 negative commandments if you charge interest to a fellow Jew. You shall fear your God. Because a person's mind is attracted to interest. It's difficult for a person not to lend out money on interest, right? It's your money. You want it to earn for you, right? You invest it to make money. So if you're going to give and lend it to somebody, you want it to make money for you. So it's difficult for a person, right, to not fall into that. And a person will decide to give permission for himself to do this. He'll give license to it because of his funds, so that we're unproductive while they're in the borrower's possession. Therefore, the Torah said, you should have fear of God. Right? In other words, God knows what's going on in your mind, that you want to make money from your money, right? That's every person wants that. So therefore it says, fear God, right? That you can't lend it in such a manner. Or the verse speaks of the one who hangs his funds by a non-Jew, one who falsely claims that his money belongs to a non-Jew, or to lend it to the Jew, beribis, with interest. This is a matter that is given over to the heart of the person, in his thoughts. That's where the verse says, I can lend you money, but it's not my money. It's my partner who's not Jewish. It's his money, so you have to pay interest on it. So fear God. God knows the truth, and don't play games.
Don't try it.
It's your money. You should not give him with interest or increase. You should give your food with increase. I am Hashem your God. I took you out of land of East, to give you the land of Canaan, to be your God. Rashi, final. Rashi, that I took you out of Chanti. What does it mean? I distinguish between the firstborn, Lashena Bechor, from who that which is not a firstborn. So likewise, I know Vinifra, and I will exact punishment. Someone who lends money Israel to a Jew, beribis, with interest. And it will say that it belongs to a non-Jew, and that's why I charge interest. Alternatively, took you out of the land of Egypt, Almanas, on condition, Shetikabel Aleichem, that you should accept upon yourself, Mitzvah my commandments, even though they're difficult for you to fulfill, you got to do it. Now says Canaan, to give you the land of Canaan, Bishar as a reward, Shetikabel Mitzvah, that you should accept my commandments. To be for you a God. What do you mean? In land of Canaan, I'm going to be for you a God. One who resides in the land of Israel, I am for them as a God. And anybody who leaves the land of Israel is as if someone who worships idolatry. Okay, so you can't leave here now because this is you go now. It's like you're leaving Israel. Leaving Israel, it's like worship idolatry.